The alarm didn't go off this morning. You woke up on your own, again. Not to bird song or sunlight, but to that quiet, familiar ache in your chest. The one that whispers, "Does any of this even matter?" You've been making the meals, folding the laundry, sending the "how are you" texts that go unanswered. You've shown up to your job, your family, your responsibilities, even when your own cup is bone dry. You've offered kindness, patience, and care, only to watch it disappear into the ether with no echo, no thanks, no sign it was even received. And today, as you sit with your coffee cooling in your hands, you wonder, if no one sees it, if no one says a word, if I vanish tomorrow and the world didn't notice the difference, why keep going? I know this place, not from a book or a podcast, but from years of living in the quiet trenches of unseen work, caring for a parent with dementia, showing up to a job that drained my soul, writing words that vanished into the void. For a long time, I believed effort only counted if it was rewarded, if it was witnessed, if it earned a nod of approval. When that didn't come, I started to shrink. I pulled back. I questioned whether I was just a ghost in my own life. But then, slowly, something shifted, not in my circumstances, but in my understanding. I began to see that the most sacred work in the world is often done in silence, and the people who do it aren't weak. They're the quiet architects of a kinder, more connected world, stitching it together one unnoticed act of love at a time. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here, especially if you're carrying that heavy, lonely feeling this morning. This isn't a channel for applause or external validation. It's a space for the ones who show up anyway, not for the recognition, but because it's woven into the very fabric of who they are. If that's you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to Elevate Your Daily. It's how we stay connected to the kind of quiet courage that keeps the world turning, even when no one's watching. Today, I want to speak directly to the part of you that's tired, the part that wonders if your effort is just evaporating into nothingness. I'm not here to sugarcoat your pain or tell you to stay positive. I'm here to offer something more honest, more sustaining, a new lens through which to see your unseen work, not as wasted energy, but as a profound act of integrity, love, and even rebellion. Because in a world obsessed with visibility, metrics, and instant feedback, choosing to show up without guarantee of reward is one of the most powerful things you can do. To help me find my footing on the days when I feel utterly invisible, I've stopped waiting for external signs and started asking myself 5 deeper, more grounding questions. These aren't about getting seen, they're about staying true to my own soul, even in the silence. Here are the 5 questions that have become my lifelines. 1. If the only witness to my effort today is my own conscience, is that enough to make it meaningful? This question was born out of a particularly dark winter. I was caring for my mother, who was in the late stages of Alzheimer's. Some days she didn't know my name. I'd bathe her, feed her, hold her hand as she drifted in and out of coherence. I'd talk to her about our childhood, about my life, about anything to fill the silence. She rarely responded. There was no thank you, no smile of recognition, just quiet and sometimes confusion. One night, after a particularly hard day, I broke down. "What's the point?" I sobbed to my journal. "She doesn't even know it's me. She'll never remember this. No one sees how hard this is." But then, exhausted and raw, I asked myself this question, and the answer came not as a shout, but as a deep, quiet certainty. Yes, it's enough. Because even if she didn't know it was me, I knew it. And in that knowing, I was honoring a love that transcended memory. I was keeping a promise I'd made not just to her, but to myself, to show up with tenderness, no matter what. That moment changed everything. I realized that meaning isn't conferred by an audience, it's generated from within. Your conscience is a faithful witness. It sees your patience when you're exhausted. It sees your generosity when you're depleted. It sees your commitment when the world looks away. And if you can stand before your own conscience at the end of the day and say, "I did what was right," that is a form of peace no external validation can match. So today, as you face another day of unseen labor, ask yourself, is my own integrity enough? And if the answer is yes, even a whisper of yes, then keep going. You're not alone. Your conscience is with you. 2. What version of myself am I cultivating through this quiet, consistent showing up, regardless of anyone else's response? For years, I measured my worth by outcomes. Did the project succeed? Did the person thank me? Did the effort pay off? But I've since learned that the deepest return on your effort isn't what you produce, it's who you become in the doing. Every time you choose kindness in the face of indifference, you're not just helping someone else, you're reinforcing your own identity as a compassionate person. Every time you show up to your responsibilities, even when you're not celebrated, you're not just fulfilling a duty, you're proving to yourself that you're reliable, that your word means something. Every time you offer care without expectation, you're not just giving, you're becoming more generous, more grounded, more free. I think of my neighbor, Ruth, who's in her late 70s. Every Tuesday, she bakes a loaf of bread and leaves it on the doorstep of a young single mom down the street. The mom rarely says thank you. Sometimes the bread sits there all day, but Ruth keeps doing it. I asked her why. She smiled softly and said, "It's not about her, it's about me. It's who I want to be in the world." That's the secret. Your unseen efforts aren't vanishing, they're sculpting you, quietly, steadily, permanently. They're building a character that can stand tall even in silence. So today, instead of asking, "Will they notice?" ask, "Who am I becoming?" Because the person you're growing into is your most enduring legacy, and no one can take that from you. 3. What small, tangible act of care can I offer this morning that requires nothing in return but the satisfaction of having done it well? On the days when I feel most invisible, I've learned to anchor myself in small, physical acts of care, things I can see, touch, and complete, regardless of anyone else's reaction. Maybe it's making my bed with crisp corners. Maybe it's watering the plants on my windowsill, watching the soil darken as it drinks. Maybe it's writing a short note to a friend and tucking it in the mail, knowing I may never hear back. These acts aren't grand, but they're real, and in their simplicity, they remind me, I am here. I am capable of creating order, beauty, and kindness, even if no one sees it. So today, as you sit with your coffee, ask yourself this question. Don't reach for something huge, just one small, honest gesture. Fold that load of laundry with full presence. Send a short text just to say, "I'm thinking of you." Take your vitamins, even though no one's watching. Light a candle and sit with your breath for 5 minutes. Let this be your quiet rebellion against the idea that you only matter when you're noticed. Let it be your declaration that your care has intrinsic value, simply because it comes from you. And in that act, you'll find a different kind of reward, the deep, quiet satisfaction of a life lived with intention. 4. Where have I tied my sense of worth to the reactions of others, and what would it feel like to untie that knot, even just a little? This was the hardest truth I had to face. I realized I'd built my entire sense of self-worth on a foundation of external feedback. If someone praised me, I felt valuable. If they ignored me, I felt worthless. My inner compass had been outsourced. But here's the liberating truth. Your worth is not a variable. It's a constant. You were worthy the day you were born. You were worthy on your best day. You are worthy on this hard, unseen day. Your worth doesn't increase with applause or decrease with silence. It simply is. Untying that knot doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small moments of reclamation. When you choose to rest, even though you should be productive. When you speak your truth, even if it's not popular. When you do the right thing in private with no one to see. Each of these is a stitch in a new identity, one that doesn't need the world's permission to exist. So today, catch yourself when you start to think, if only they'd notice, and gently ask, what if I'm enough, exactly as I am, right here, right now, in this quiet moment? You might not believe it fully today, but say it anyway, because every time you do, you loosen the knot a little more. 5. If I knew for certain that my effort would never be acknowledged, would I still choose it out of love, principle, or simple human decency? This is the ultimate test of integrity, and the answer, for most of us, is yes. You'd still care for your child, even if they never thanked you. You'd still show up for your aging parent, even if they forgot your name. You'd still plant the garden, write the letter, make the call, not because you expect a reward, but because it's the right thing to do. That's the heart of a life well lived. Not fame, not recognition.